Parents, we wish to advise that because of possible harmful elements, certain portions of the following program may not be suitable for young children.
This movie, I thought, was really funny to watch, and it was fun to watch because it's just so bizarre. Like, everything that happens in this movie is somehow really cliche, and I've also never fucking seen it before. It doesn't look that bad.
No, I don't think it looks bad.
It just looks stupid bad. It's dumb as shit. It doesn't make any sense. It takes place on this star station that, to the benefit of the writers, they can basically do whatever they want. But, okay, so let's describe this movie. This is a movie about
Gladiators, basically.
Space gladiators.
Yeah.
In a kind of boxing match that's broadcasted to the universe. The movie opens to a wrestling match, and Steve is watching it while he's at work. Okay, so Steve Armstrong is a line cook in a cafeteria, like a Luby's.
Hey, you want to eat this food or wear it? Wait. Tadpole, you are a very rude young man.
And so he gets into a fight.
No!
And he immediately gets fired for kicking this dude's ass because it's like the dystopian future.
No, you are in violation of your service contracts. Employment is terminated.
Hey, where you going?
It doesn't make sense to me that they're monitoring so closely this snack shack, and they're like, oh, you got into a fight? We instantly know there's like cameras or something.
But it's for Space National Security.
That's so stupid to me.
I thought it was retarded because they're like, you're fired for getting in a fight at work. Not only that, but we're clearly paying grave attention to this snack bar.
Without a job on the star station, you could be deported for vagrancy. Hey, shut up!
What? He's just like, I just want to go home to Earth.
About this star station, I just want to go back to Earth.
He tries to go in his apartment.
What's wrong?
I said invalid entry.
I like how the computer's like, I said invalid entry.
It's just really stupid because it's like, okay, if he's going to be deported for not having a job and he just wants to go back to Earth, just get fucking deported. You don't have to pay for it.
What?
If he just wants to go back, just do
If
what
he's
you're doing.
deported, then why does he have to pay for a bus ticket? What?
Exactly.
It's the same day.
Folded.
That's really dumb.
You lost your job.
I mean, it is this
and we
movie.
never got
Yeah.
the rest of your time.
So he gets evicted on a space station, and they're walking down a corridor, and his friend just leads him into like a literal hole in the wall.
I wouldn't want to put you out, Shorty.
Hey, after what you did for me, I'll break boo.
Okay.
It makes me butthurt. This clip right here.
Nice basement.
Want it?
You first, come on.
I'm coming in.
Where they're like going down this ladder. That makes no sense.
Let me get past you, bud.
How does a four-armed, short man, stocky man, get around another man in like a sewer tunnel? Like, what? How?
Yeah, and the weird thing is this dude has like 4 arms for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's always like very evident that someone else is in the outfit, just awkwardly moving the hands.
Yeah. It's so weird. And it's weird to me that, like, in some scenes, you can see that he's got just, like, plastic arms on, and they're just kind of, like, flailing about.
Yeah.
But then in some, it's like, whoever... excuse me, gross. Whoever was in charge of, like, the hands really wanted attention.
Yeah.
Like, they're kind of moving the arms.
Like they really
floating.
tried to make it specific. Like, I don't know if you remember the cooking scene that they were doing, where he's like,
Oh, yeah.
they're trying to coordinate, and it's really not going well, but
No.
they thought it looked really impressive, and you're like, okay. Alright, sure, guys.
No, not at all. kind of pisses me off. Like that something's wrong about
It's
this
just
scene.
another funny scene to watch them try to make all four arms work together and they still stumble over each other.
Seriously.
Welcome to my world.
What is this place?
The cubes.
I heard about this place, but I didn't think...
Also, this part makes no sense. Like they're in a sewer, like an underground part of the space station. Okay,
Yeah.
I just don't understand why you have a space station and there's excess room where there's no one checking out. Like there's like just extra space on a space station that it's like, who cares? Doesn't matter. It's like dilapidated. There's a bunch of homeless people over there and no one knows.
Totally agree, but like he also brings up in one of the lines in the movie that he's like, I didn't know this place actually existed, which implies that it's like a mythical place. But then throughout the rest of the movie, just every character knows where it is. And it was just like, yeah,
Hell, I think
I
all
got
of
over
the
here.
rest of the characters live underground. Like all of the people at the fights, they just look like the underground
It'd
people.
be really funny if like the lore of this is like there's a bunch of fancy doors that you think are to apartments, but they're all just like slides down into this sub basement
my
looking
God.
shit.
Oh my god.
Your hole in the wall is slightly better than my hole in the wall.
Okay, so it turns out that his friend just lives in this giant space station sewer. There's a bunch of vagrant people living in the sewers of this giant space station. This guy's friend is like, you're my guest. You sleep in my bed.
Look, you're the guest. I'll be all right.
And it's like literally, it's just a shower. It's just the floor of a shower. Like, what the fuck?
But this definitely puts us even on the favors.
Not on your life. Not even close. Nice.
Steve wakes up the next morning and he just gets jumped by these guys who are friends of the guys that he beat up in the beginning.
You Steve Armstrong?
Yeah.
I love this part where he throws Steve off of the railing. And he just lands on a bunch of homeless people.
Listen, that's realism.
That's realism. And then this woman walks out of the smoke and she's like,
You're the
I'm
guy
a
who
coach
fed
for the
Van
arena
Wilder.
and you've got the
Who in
guts
the
of a
hell
real
is Van?
fighter.
He's one of my fighters. As a matter of fact, he was one of my best fighters. You ever thought about the arena, Steve?
And Steve's
You're
like,
talking about arena fighting. It's not for me.
Keep in mind,
I
this
wanted-
is
wanted to
after
train
he
for
was
it my
telling
whole
us
life, but
how
I
much he
found out a
wanted
year
to
ago
be
I
a
couldn't
fighter
do
at
it.
one point.
No, wait a second. There's something you don't know about me, Shorty. I am a fighter. I fought on the human circuit. I was ranked. I won a lot of fights. I had this dream. One day, I could come up here and fight in the arena.
yeah, he was literally
He's
like,
I watched all the fights, all the humans that did well.
he was like, it was my dream to become
Yeah.
the next champion.
Is immediately confronted. He goes,
Slide back
"Fuck
to
no!
space.
I don't want that. I want nothing to do with it."
Yeah, it's not for me. They're getting cold.
And then you just
The
have.
eggs, they're getting
Yeah.
cold, Shorty.
Meanwhile, you got a Shorty with mismatched ear color. like that's just fucking gray as hell for the ear
It's
tips.
white as fuck right there.
But whatever. There's a whole silver man in the movie.
He just stomps away like, shut up, Mom. He said he trained for it his whole life.
yeah, but no shot. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't have a chance.
Got any money?
Yeah, not very much.
You're right.
So Shorty is like, let's gamble all of your money for a bus ticket. So they literally do that.
Now,
Watch this. This is my game.
His friend just takes all of his money and he just instantly loses it in like 2 hands of space. Literally, he's like, I got
Come
this.
on,
This
we
is
saw
my
that
game.
happen.
He's like, I know this shit.
Check this out.
You don't understand. He was ahead of his time. He's the equivalent of one of those crypto bros who was like,
Oh,
give me
yeah.
your money for NFTs. I got this, brother. No shot you lose your cash. And you're like, you have 50 cents worth of pictures.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
Uh-huh. Raise that bet.
Sure about that early? You just got that one pair.
Never Hotep ain't got jack. See the way that snake on his hat's a wiggling? I call. Flip 'em, hoss.
Okay, so all of a sudden the cops come in and they're like, "You're all under arrest."
Get out of here. You're all under arrest.
What's with the fucking aliens in this thing? Like, one's a rodent,
I don't
someone looks
get
like
it.
a tusked mammoth,
Yeah, and he's like in a Dalmatian costume.
and then all the guards look like weird Mad Max mixed with Star Wars characters.
I love that the guns are literally just like laser pointers.
Yeah, they're like pew, pew.
So the cops bust up this underground casino that's in like a janitor's closet or something on the space station. It doesn't make any sense because it's like an underground gambling ring on a space station. I don't know why I have to emphasize this. This is so stupid. The entire point of the space station is to like host this fight, this like boxing match. But no one is allowed to bet on it. Like gambling is illegal on this space station. That doesn't make any sense to me, especially with the fight.
It's just poker that's illegal.
It's
Betting on the
just
fight
poker.
is allowed.
And they imply that people
Texas
like
Hold'em.
die in the ring, but it's immoral to gamble.
Oh yeah.
And while they're escaping, Shorty finds like literally a box filled with money. Like I went back and I was editing this, and it's literally just an open box, and he just grabs money out of this.
Would you do any differently?
Well, no, I'm not saying that I do it any differently, but I'm like, this is a movie where like you're supposed to have shit that makes sense.
Well, no, I'm saying you don't store your money like that. He doesn't trust
That
banks,
is safe.
Sam.
That is safe.
This is a space station, Sam. Where are you gonna put your money that no one can find it? The key? Out in the open. No one looks out in the open.
It's the perfect crime.
It's basically the equivalent of a tip jar at a fucking sandwich shop, but it's an underground casino on a space station.
Surprise.
And Shorty's just already bought Steve a space Uber ticket back to
One
Earth.
way to Earth.
He's just like, cool. Now let's watch some like
Right on the Star Station.
Holograph titties. Let's do it.
like what even is that? Why did they have that dance? It's so creepy.
I really do think it was just a trying to be immersive thing, but it just kind of falls on his face because it doesn't look good either.
Yeah. It's not well done. It's not even a good dance. It's just strange.
Girl, Shorty, who is this girl?
I don't know. They pipe the stuff in from up 9.
I don't know, I'd be more seductive in a banana hammock than that dance. Like,
Then they get interrupted by a goon, and he's like, "You're coming with me. I'm gonna take you to the bad guy." And he does, and it's like silver-faced Dracula, and he's like, "Do you know who I am?"
You know who I am. No, why? Don't you?
He's only kidding.
And Shorty's like, "Oh, he's joking. All of us vagrants know who you are, Mr. Rogor." Yeah, his name is Rogor, and the little goon guy is Weasel.
at least it's applicable.
I don't know what it means.
I guess.
He's a little weasel fuck.
Weasel has
Okay,
no
the
patience
Weasel
for
thing makes
liars.
sense. The Rogar, I'm like,
Liar.
Yeah, Rogar, I was like, that's the dumbest name.
yeah,
Like, Jabba the Hutt was more creative.
literally.
You couldn't have called him, like,
Let me make my decision.
Rogor the Reginald or something.
Rogor the
Just
Reginald.
anything to add to this. It's just Mr. Rogor.
18,000 Kruger.
Like Kruger, like the Seinfeld Kruger, and he does this little thing with his hands. I don't know why I love that thing.
The Seinfeld Kruger.
You don't remember Kruger smoothing? Kruger Industrial Smoothing?
No.
Mr. Kruger?
What?
This guy.
What? What did he... I don't remember what he did for George? George? I remember that. I remember that.
Well, George, what are we going to do with you, George?
Oh, you are too much, Mr. Kruger. Thank you, George. You've been great. That's it.
He's like, "I want my money." And Steve's like,
call it
"No
Uber."
problem. Here you go."
Here's the plane ticket that we have, the space Uber ticket.
He literally is just like, "Here you go. Here's this ticket I just bought."
And he literally just goes, these are non-refundable.
Refundable.
This is Non-refundable.
He's like, I'll go get it.
The money. Just give me a day.
I like you.
I like you. What do you think of me?
I don't rightly know, sir.
Make an assessment.
12 hours.
And
If you're not back by then.
Rogar, he tells Weasel to start cutting off his fingers in like 4
You
hours.
understand?
He's really like,
After 4 hours,
After 12
start
hours.
cutting off his fingers one by one.
Start cutting off his fingers. One every hour. Don't worry, Mr. Lowe.
Male Earth visitor.
and it's like 3 a.m. in the movie.
3 o'clock in the morning. What do you want?
You still looking for a fighter?
And he just shows up at this woman's apartment. And I love how it plays out whenever I was editing this. It literally is like, you have a male visitor.
Male Earth visitor.
Like the AI is just like, you've got a booty call.
You've got hose.
You've got hose. That's pretty good. And he's like, do you still need a fighter? Because I need $18,000 in cash now. Like, stat. Like, go get the money. And she just does. Like, that makes no sense. She's like,
But then after that, it cuts back to Weasel and
and
Shorty, and they're just playing poker.
Literally.
And Weasel's just losing it. It's like, why are you letting him do this?
It's only been like 20 minutes.
Isn't this-
It feels
yeah.
like it's literally just the next scene. Like,
Because they're like, they were shunned. Well, shocked, not shunned.
Yeah,
They're sitting there
he
like,
was like,
how'd
oh,
you
he's
get the
back.
money so fast?
yeah. And he comes back and he's like, 18,000 Kruger in 4 hours?
18,000 Kruger in less than an hour. You should be working for me.
You should be working for me. Yeah. And he's like, no, I got a job.
I've been training my whole life to turn it down the first chance I get.
It's not for me.
Will a human do battle in the arena?
He goes to this fight, and I swear, like, the first time I saw this, to me, the thing that he's fighting looks like a guy laying down with his legs open, and it's just like, his dick is a monster.
Yeah, I thought it was like a stirrup monster.
It was really weird.
Odd, to say the least.
Like, look at that. And they're just spraying him down with, like, water ball. Is that a
Like a
wrestling
frog.
thing?
No, it's like a
They're
frog.
just trying to keep him moist.
If he blows too hard on him, he'll dry out. I don't know.
It's so weird.
And the effects are god awful.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay, you did all this effort to make this monster creature thing with animatronics and other stuff, but
then you
didn't
watch it.
coordinate the fight at all to look good.
There's like sportscaster Spock, and he shows up and he's like,
That no human being can compete. That's what's being proven here tonight.
he literally puts himself in a chokehold. I remember watching it and being like, he just put himself in a chokehold, and then they did the whole like flip the script thing. He was like, actually, he's doing it to flip him over.
Actually, he can fight. Whoa!
And then Steve starts winning,
This is incredible sport. It's absolutely unbelievable. No one figured that Steve Armstrong
and he just
would last
changes
this
his
long
tune
and beat this
instantly.
close. Ladies and gentlemen, never in my long and brilliant career have I seen such an astonishing debut. Such a display of guts, poise, and talent. It is obvious that no human being can compete. That's what's being proven here tonight. Not only a rookie, but an Earthman. Now, could this be the contender that the humanoid races have awaited all these years?
Oh, look. You ought to see the other guy.
So Roger comes up
look
to
good out
Steve
there,
after the
kid.
fight, and he's
didn't
like,
tell me you
you
were
should work for
know I had
me.
to tell you I
And
was
Steve is like, he's like
good
feeling the
idea.
angst of puberty. He's
Whether you
like,
like
you
it or
can't
not."
tell me what to do.
You're going to work for me.
Nobody tells me what to do.
Come on, Rucker. Sit down. I'll give you a rub.
You are. You are
I felt
gay.
something in there tonight, Shorty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt fantastic, Shorty. A little bit awkward at first, but after the first couple of blows, the adrenaline takes over. It does not control me.
Right.
I'm telling you, Shorty, I can do it.
Right.
I can go all the way.
Right.
And then they go to the Space Comedy Club, and they cut right to it.
Yeah.
It was so shocking. It was like, you should work for me.
You know how space titties are? Haha.
That face is terrifying.
Yeah. I don't know. I also found it really weird that even whenever he's being like held up by Rogor, Steve is just like, whatever. I get it. We stole your money. We'll get it back for you. It's cool.
It's very casual.
Yeah, it's a very casual shakedown until the threat, and even after that, he's so relaxed. Like they try to make it this rivalry, and it's never once convincing or menacing. It's just like. It has the emotional weight of that kid from elementary school going, "You're no longer invited to my birthday party." And you're like,
yeah. Okay. And so, of course, Rogar's here. It feels like he's in every scene. And it's weird how this movie plays out because I feel like it's like one scene and then the reaction to that scene, but not in a way that makes sense. So Rogar just shows up at this space comedy club and he's looking extra silvery tonight, like you wouldn't believe. And then all of a sudden he's like not so silvery. It's really clear that, I don't know, I guess the paint on set was really bothersome and they had to like get it off of him, because the first time you see him in the scene, he's like a statue gray. Like he looks pretty normal right there. But then you get to the comedy club, and he's, like, glistening.
It's very strange, because they never even elaborate on it, if he's, like, an alien, or what's going on. It's just, he's different shades of silver, and you're like, is this supposed to imply, like, wealth in this society? Because everybody's all glammed up in other scenes.
Yeah.
But, like, no one else is, silver or gold.
Look at that face.
I know, he looks like Dr. Doom.
He does.
Okay, that dude's wearing gold.
Yeah. It's a stylistic choice. Okay, so Shorty just starts talking shit, and he's like, he's talking to like the current champion, who's this like Wolfman cyborg
Minotaur.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't that his name?
No, his name was Horn.
Oh.
His name is literally Horn.
Well, what else would you call him? Anything creative?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so they cut to the classic montage thing.
So now Steve's all like full of himself, and like 3 minutes later in the movie, he's trying to get with this girl with the cat eye from the comedy club. He's like, I need to relax and take my mind off the stress, if you get my drift.
And I'm supposed to help you relax.
Why not?
That was amazing, bro. You think that's gonna work?
So they go and, well, they fuck.
Me worry about the fight.
And so during this, she roofies Steve and poisons him or something. He like goes back to well, she goes back to Rogor, who hired her to do so.
You're not falling for him, are you?
Armstrong?
And
wait, I thought that it was like they were dating.
Well, like they went on a date.
I thought he was like pimping out his...
No, he is, but that's why it's like, did you fall for him?
That is...
It's like, it's so weird. No, I poisoned him, Rogor. And it's like she did, but they make it seem like she didn't poison him enough in the movie. And they bring it up because the doctor comes around and is like, he'll be dead within an hour.
Will he be able to
We've got to give him this pill or something. And
he won't be 100%, but yes, he can fight. But I won't take responsibility.
So they fix him up and get into the first round, and all of a sudden, Steve feels incredible. Steve's good, man. He's real good. First round, good old point for old Stevie.
Okay, so here comes the second round, and oh no, not only did Rogor get some bitch to roofie Steve, now he's getting Weasel to rig the fight.
Do it. Weasel. Do it all the way.
By messing with the handicap machine thing. So, we have to explain this as much as the movie did, okay? So, according to the clip in the very beginning, It says...
In order to balance strength between species, the arena uses the Seiko 3000 handicapping system. The handicappers decrease a fighter's strength, keeping the match competitive, with the fighters evenly classed.
Competitive. So, okay, they're weakening one species so that it's on par with another. That makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
The premise, I get.
Yeah, but it's like, doesn't that just balance them out entirely? So has it like...
Exactly. Shouldn't, if it works perfectly, then shouldn't every match end in a stalemate?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But in the movie, they just show this as like red and blue lights. That's it. They don't elaborate on it. They don't really talk about it. And they keep cutting to shots where, like, after editing this out, I realize now, okay, they were cutting to that, like, that's the handicap. It's not at all clear in the movie. It just looks like they're just cutting to a random, like, window. Okay, whatever.
And it also, they imply earlier in the movie that the handicap system cannot be tampered with. Many have tried, and many have failed.
They were like, it's impossible. It can't be done.
And then it's just completely unguarded and left alone.
Okay, so whatever. These lights are somehow connected to the handicapping thing, but it's not explained after that clip at all. It only comes up one other time, and that is...
No one has ever been able to get into that infernal computer.
It can't be done. He makes it sound like it's an entire Mission Impossible movie to mess with the handicap thing. Now, if we can get right back to the fight starting...
No problem, Mr.
Okay,
O'Gore.
no problem. I'll go rig the handicap thing right now. And he climbs on top of this thing, whatever this thing is. It's like at the top of the space station. Like, is this literally the top? Like, okay, I don't understand. Look at the image of whatever we're seeing up there. Like, it looks like the top of the space station. It looks like a window out into space.
Yeah, it kind of looks like whenever you go to a stadium and they have a concert or a boxing match, so they have the thing above it to show the lights, but then it's just like an open top.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it looks like. It's weird. But what I don't get is, like, what the fuck are the proportions of the space station? Like, is it like Death Star sized, or is it like Justice League space station sized? Because whenever you look at it, I'm like, this is like the Justice League space station. It's kind of big, but not massive. But then whenever they're looking at this, it makes it seem like it's like
when you look in the stands, it looks like a very small arena.
Yeah,
like it's like if it's being broadcast to the universe, I'm like, okay, I get
there's
why
like
there's like
10,000 people seating.
No way,
max.
No way, way less.
Max,
gotta be less.
Okay.
I would guess it's like 1,000. It looks small as shit.
Okay, so he climbs up here and he literally just pulls out this one cable and plugs it back in. Like, okay, it's not worth mentioning this guy, the brain guy. He's in like 3 scenes.
Yeah, I'm sorry every 2 fans that have seen this movie.
Yeah, he's not important to the story at all.
We're hooked in.
He just like plays around with this light bright and he puts a wire in his head and he's like, feels kind of nice. And so Steve is down there getting wailed on and he's getting smacked up by Horn. Oh yeah, okay, the guy's name's Horn. So Steve is getting his ass kicked and he's like, I feel weak. And everybody's standing around like, well, he was drugged like 20 minutes ago and apparently on the verge of dying. But like, drink some electrolytes, it'll keep you hydrated. Like, what? I don't get how people aren't just like, well, yeah, of course you feel like shit. What were you expecting? I don't get that. And Shorty just looks up and he's the one person that notices that the lights are being weird. And they're just being like especially weird tonight.
I smell a rat or a weasel.
And he just scampers up the stuff the overhead beams and ladders and shit.
He also says some stupid one-liner like, "I smell a rat." And you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And, okay, this brings me to this point. How the fuck long are these fights? Because Rogor put out the second hit on our boy here in the middle of the fight. In the middle of the first round, he's like, okay, go rig the handicap. But aren't boxing rounds like 4 minutes or something? Or even if if this is just a fantasy world, whatever, let them make their own rules. Let's say these matches are like 2 hours max, right? 2 hours.
The movie gives the
Probably
impression that
less.
it's not even a time thing, that it's just like sumo wrestling, where whenever you're knocked out of that circle, it's a point. So it's like 2 points, you win the fight.
Okay, well I'm just going to use 2 hours, 120 minutes, okay? 3 rounds, 40 minutes a round, because there's clearly rounds. Okay.
40 minutes a round?
I'm giving a
No
lot
way.
of extra time
No,
here. I'm
no.
being really conservative, okay?
That's bullshit. That's the worst thing you could possibly say.
Then let's say that
Because
each round is 20 minutes.
boxing rounds
which
are-
is still long.
Boxing rounds are usually 3 to 5 minutes, depending on
Okay,
promotion.
okay. Let's just say that
Like
this
UFC
took...
is 5 minutes. I think boxing's 3 minutes.
Let's just say that this took 20 minutes, okay? Let's just say that Rogor decided to rig the handicap and tells Weasel, let's be generous. The second the round started, okay? That would mean that Weasel, he pulled off a galactic heist in the space station, the likes of which haven't been seen in the whole tri-state area around this space station, okay? He climbed all the way up to the shit and rigged these kitty lights and boxes and cracked the handicap code.
Yeah.
That should be a pun.
I may have unintentionally committed a hate crime, and that's not good.
Handicap code?
He
Like the
Ocean's
Da Vinci
11
Code?
that motherfucker.
Yeah, okay. In 20 minutes, okay? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, back to Shorty. So Shorty realizes that the handicap thing is messed up, and at the start of the third round, he climbs up there and jumps Weasel. Let's say it's only 5 minutes a round. Then he climbed up there in like 20 seconds.
That's what I'm saying. He got up there from the stands.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you telling me the rowdy crowd that was like, "We want Steve. We want Steve," which in itself is a hilarious chant, but they're like freaking out about the championship before Steve comes out after that drug-induced coma deal. And you're telling me that not a single one of them was like, "Tear this motherfucker down," and gets on that thing?
Literally.
Anyone could explore up to that point that this midget four-armed fuck can just randomly get up there in half a minute.
Come on, man. What a stupid son of a bitch.
This movie makes no sense. Okay, so it's the middle of the third round, and Steve-O's just getting jackassed. But when all hope seems lost, Shorty disables the fuck out of the handicap, and now Steve can win the fight. But it doesn't make any sense, because if the handicap was making Horn weaker to evenly match Steve, then with it off, wouldn't Horn just be even stronger? That doesn't make any sense to me.
They imply that the handicap weakens Steve.
That's true.
But it's like, okay.
So if it's switched...
I get what you're saying, and I'm with you. I think if you're telling me humans really do suck at fighting, like the whole thing has been implying, and now it's finally like a quote-unquote fair fight in that there's no handicaps or anything. It's just human versus alien. Yeah, I think the alien would have been stronger, but they don't really explain what happens at all other than it's just like shut down.
I feel like they used the handicap as like just something to put in the story, because it doesn't make any sense at all. Whatever. Okay, so the handicapper has been capped, and this guy's capped. No cap gets capped. Too much alliteration? Whatever. I love a good head explosion, and that was a really cool head explosion. You know, whenever he's like plugged in, and they break the handicap, he's like, he just pops. Now he fights Horn, but all the way.
Do it all the way.
Shorty, for some reason, is still fighting Weasel. and he just throws Weasel off the railing up here, and he just dies, and no one cares or notices in this giant crowd.
It would be really funny if he just like killed a bystander and they're like, hooray!
No, this shit is like Jerry Springer. Like, they just take the fights into the audience. You remember the beginning?
You think
that little kid?
You think they have like a splash zone?
Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, the Horn just throws this guy into a crowd, and this little kid is just standing there, and Horn's just like, get the fuck out of my way. He's mine. I'm gonna get his ass. Anyways, so Weasel just dies, and Steve wins the arena. Yay. And, that bitch that got, the one that roofied Steve, she's like, Steve! And instantly just gets thwomped by the coach chick. And the sportscaster spot is like,
Be like Steve, now, what is in store for this young man? No one can say.
This is a terrible ending.
One thing is certain.
Oh, I agree.
It's really stupid.
The movie's terrible. It served no purpose. There's no greater thing. Like, I understand movies are meant to entertain, but like watching the movie is just like, really?
The thing, okay.
There's nothing that makes this structurally a good movie. There's no good pacing. There's no good story. There's no good acting. Like, the best that you can say, like we talked about, is it has decent for the era practical effects.
Someone had a vision with this movie, and it was not carried through. Someone had a vision, and they put their attention into all of the wrong details, like the set pieces. I feel like somebody made up a whole lore for the space station with like the alien species and stuff, and just none of it pans out.
It just reminds me of that scene from Full Metal Jacket where the fucking drill sergeant guy is just screaming at them and goes, "You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece." That's this movie. I get that. It's the equivalent of if I gave you a pen and you said, "I'm going to make something incredible," and you gave me a stick figure drawing in a house. I'd be like,
Did you ever watch Fifth Element?
No.
This movie makes me want to watch Fifth Element with you. It's
all I've seen from Fifth Element is that one chick that all the girls try to cosplay as.
The main character?
I don't know.
She a redhead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little straps.
Yeah. It's not that bad a movie, but there's a lot of roast material in it. Okay.
It's no Slevin.
It's no Slevin. Honestly, I don't have much more about this movie. You got anything you want to say?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Okay, I love you. 愛上了你，請你莫逃避。